G'day, welcome back to another episode of TOGL. Well, as I promised you at the end of last week, let's have a look at how these trusses were put up. I did manage to get some footage, but not a lot of variety in camera angle and stuff because it was so windy I couldn't use my normal camera. I could only rely on just setting up the GoPro. That being said as well, I just wanted to get it done, so I had to work really fast. Since the trusses have gone up, I've been working pretty damn fast as well. Just not doing any photography, not doing any filming, just basically nose to the grindstone and getting things done because we are moving up here in just a few days. So let's have a look at these trusses going up and then I'll catch back with you shortly. All right, it is blowing a gale up here at the moment. It's freezing. But we've been delayed a couple of days because of the rain, so we've got to get these trusses up. So Mitch has come up to help me again, so really appreciative of that help, and we want to get these trusses up. So we've got all the trusses there. Mitch just finished notching out a couple for me, so there they are. Some more trusses over here, and what we want to do is we're going to actually start on these two center ones first. So we'll do them. We'll start by the back and then the front because they're in halves, and then we can work on the left and the right. Now, because it is so windy, filming is going to be limited. I'm just going to actually stick the GoPro on the windscreen of the car and just let it do some filming because I can't set up the main camera and the tripod. It will get blown over. I had to clear a couple of branches and limbs off of the road on the way in this morning, just because it's been so windy, like it's been gale force. Anyway, we've only got a couple of hours to get this up there, so we'll make the most of this gap in the weather and we'll get it up. Because these ones are light, lightish, lighter than the others. Right, so we got those two up really well. Thank you, Mitch. And now we've just brought these other two up. I'll come back this way a bit. So now we're going to put these other two in. And the process is working really well. We just get them in and then bolt them up. I mean, yeah, nothing else to say. Works well. Well, that was a frantic couple of hours, but we're there. It's 1 o'clock. Mitch said that he had to leave by 1, and I literally put the last bolt in at about 12:58, like it was so close down to the wire, but we've got it all up. So let's have a look. There we are. All the braces, trusses, they're all up. Now you'll notice that this one out here on the end is higher at the back, like it's got a fatter back, whereas the other two come down to more of a point, and that's because the roof slopes. So to keep that perfectly parallel right across the top or horizontal, that's what we had to do. Now you'll also notice, if I come around to the front, that those outside ones are leaning out slightly, and I decided to build it that way as well because it's actually at 90 degrees with the roof,
That way I didn't need to cut anything extra on the timber. I've made them a little bit longer so that they still are parallel, and it means that they lean into the wind just a little bit, because the wind predominantly comes either from the north or from the south, and will hit those sides. So that's all up there. And I'm so glad that that's done and that Mitch was able to help me. So now what I'm going to do is put the doors back in and get out of this wind, make a coffee, have some lunch, because I've been getting fumbly, probably because I haven't had a lot to eat. Had a big brekkie, but I'm getting hungry. So I get the doors in, have some lunch, and then I'm going to get some metal strapping, start to brace all this up, and then I'll get the battens and I'll start to put battens across the top. That's stuff that I can do up there myself, no problem at all. So that's what we'll get done. Oh, I tell you, it is so good to be out of that wind. I don't know about you, but I always find, whether I realise it or not, I'm always tense when I'm out in really strong wind like that. I mean, you're fighting the elements, trying to get things done. You step into here, it's like it's quieter, you're not being buffeted. It's just instantly you relax a lot more, and that's been a challenge out there. That was a very challenging morning. So glad that it's up now, and that what I'd envisaged in my head and had planned for so long, you know, right from getting the logs and milling the timber and working all that in my head, working out what the angles needed to be and the lengths and doing all the math on that, just to get it all together, and then just finally see it up on the roof as I'd hoped it would be. And it went together pretty damn well, actually. Mitch was surprised at how fast it went together too. Yeah, everything just worked like clockwork, and I guess that's just because there was a lot of planning went into it. Sorry I couldn't show you more of it, but as I said, like, we had to work fast. I only had Mitch until 1, and the wind was really blowing. It made things challenging, so you saw a little bit anyway of how we got there. I wish I could have showed you more of how we were getting the those trusses up. To get the ones up on the side, that was even more interesting, because what I did was we laid the truss on its side. Like, we didn't put it on the end and stand it up, we laid it across, and I had the base of it facing out. And then what I did was I actually got a strap around it, around the base, pulled it up towards me while I was sitting on the tractor to lift it up. I then drove the tractor around, lined it up, got it up, and my phone's ringing. So yeah, I had them laid down flat, the strap around the base, pulling it up like that, and then I was able to drive it in towards where the edge of the house was, and then I could let go of the strap and lower it like that. And then Mitch was on one side with a ladder. I then jumped off the tractor, come around up the other ladder, and we were able to get it and stand it up. So yeah, just very creative ways to get these things done. You really got to think outside the box. Anyway, they're all up. So like I said, I've just boiled the kettle. I'm gonna have a cuppa, relax for 20 minutes. Then I'm gonna get back up in that wind and get on that roof, and I'll start putting all of the bracings and everything else in. I'll show you a little bit of that as well. So yeah, see you up there shortly. I thought I'd better stop for a minute and show you what I'm doing. Getting all these battens in, because it's going very fast. Let's go up there and have a look. It's notched in. Okay, so as you can see, I got these notched halfway along. The next batten will sit in on that, and then I'm using the nail gun to nail them in. The outsides I'm hanging over by about another 30 centimeters on both ends, just to give me a bit of an eave. So what I'll do now is I'll come up here, I'll bring more, I'm going to nail them all on this end first, just laying them out. I'll get the ladder up here, and then I'll just nail them all on. Quickly get the last of these on. Shouldn't take me too much longer.
Well, the sun is just dropping behind the horizon, or it's dropped behind the horizon, and we are done. And I am absolutely wrecked. I'm exhausted. Alrighty, there we go. All the battens and trusses are up, and that looks, I think, fantastic. I'm really pleased with that. Really pleased. Let's just jump up and have one more quick look up on top, and then I need to pack up. And as you can probably tell, in the last 20 minutes or so, that wind has dropped right off, which is just an absolute godsend. It means I can tidy up without all that blowing wind and appreciate the work I've done and just relax a little bit. I'm pretty happy with these joints. As you can see, I used heaps of nails. Nails go in at all directions. That way it stops the wind being able to pull those battens out, because they're not trying to pull the nail straight out, it's in at an angle. And look at that view. Okay, well, it's been 7 days since those trusses went up. That happened last Tuesday, and it's now Tuesday again. I've been working a lot since then, so let me show you what I've been up to. Sorry I haven't filmed any of it. The weather's been bad and I've just been in a real rush to get it done. So I have got the tin around the sides, and I've got 90% of the tin on the roof. You can see up here, I've got the tin to there. I've just got to put some half panels in. I'll get up there in a minute and show you. I've left a gap here at the front, and that's because our little fireplace is just in there, and I'm going to need access to put the flue up through, which will happen in the next day or two. So yeah, more tin around the front here and then down the side, and I got to admit, I'm really happy with the way that this looks, the way that it leans out, the little overhang and everything. It really did turn out well. It's not how I had originally planned it, but it looks great. And the other thing I've done too on the weekend was build this dog run. So this is for the dogs, and you see I've got this netting all over it. Now that's because our little Westies could quite easily be picked up by a wedge-tail eagle. So, and we got a lot of wedge-tail eagles around. So I need this net above them to protect them. Now I've only netted half of it so far. This other section down here, this will get a net over it once I get the laundry room built. So I just got to build the laundry room in here, and then the net can go from the laundry room across to there. As I said, solar panels are there. Power is connected up. We've got power, so that's really good. I got the little vent cover put over the back. I didn't realize where that was for, so I had to ask the company, what's this for? They said it's to cover up the vent at the back, which is great. Let's go inside and have a look. And coming inside, still quite a mess in here, construction zone wise, but we've got the kitchen cabinets I've put up there. Everything's in place. We've got the fridge there now, which is fantastic. I just set up a little diesel heater down there until we get the fireplace going, and cut a hole through the back of the wall, but we're going to put a little doggy door in there anyway, so that's cool. No work needed to be done on the bathroom. In the rooms here though, I have got the skirting boards done. I sleep up here every now and then on my little camp stretcher. So skirting boards are done, the sides are done. I've still got to do the architraves in here. Same with the other room, the architraves still need to be done. But I have started doing the architrave across the back, so I had to do that piece across into the back. Got a piece to put in there. I've done up and across here and up. These were tricky angles to do actually, because you can't just cut them with a miter box because they're not at a 90 degrees. You'll see there's this little piece here, but then it drops down. So that was a challenge as well. And then we've got the fireplace we'll be setting up right here, but I've got to put a hearth down, get some panels on the wall and get the flue put in. So lots of work to do over the next few days. Okay, so this is where I got to the other day. Just that little bit left on the front to do. So basically it was 12 sheets wide, 2 sheets deep so far, and then probably 2/3 of a sheet. So those pieces there, they're 1.8 or 1800 that I had to cut off of those sheets, which were probably, I think, about 3 or something like that. So yeah, and I'll have to do just a little bit over on that far edge. It's only like 2 ripples wide, but I can do that later. So this is where we're at. I just want to get these last few panels screwed on now and then head home. What we're doing is just fitting the valve to the water tank, because it doesn't actually come with it fitted so that they can roll it around. So we just had to cut the right sort of hole. Now the trick's going to be, that has to be on the inside. So I've got to lower that down in and then try and get it and pull it out so I can then screw the lock nut on. So it's going to be a challenge, but we'll see how we go. My plan was, because I can't get into the tank and that needs to be on the inside poking out through that hole. I don't know how it normally gets done. So I thought I'll lower that down with the rope and try and then grab it from the bottom and pull it through and then get the lock nut on. However, if I tie that rope on, then I can't get it back off. So I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do this. I need the rope to be able to come back off as well. I was thinking about putting the rope right through, but I can't because that's a one-way ball valve joint, so that if the pump stops working for whatever reason, the water won't all flow back out and into the tank, and then the pump won't be primed. So the little ball in there lets the water go in but won't let it come back out. So I just got to work out how I'm going to get this up there or down into there.
Okay.
All right. I've got another plan. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get it screwed on there. I'm going to drill a hole through the end of this big long plank right there, and then that is going to go into it like that, and then I'm going to use the plank to lower it down because it'll be on there, and push it in, and I'll just pull the plank away. We'll see if that works. thick bit of wood. Alrighty. Put that there. Now, yep, that's good. Okay. Okay.
Just hold the rope along the length of the timber so it's not dragging.
Would have liked a lighter, thinner bit of timber, but this was all I had at the time.
Do you need me down the bottom to grab it? Jace? I can see it.
Okay. All right, well that worked. Thankfully Kay was here to help as well, not just filming, but grab a hold of it. But yeah, that worked. We got it through and was able to pull the rope off. We just did a very loose slip knot on it, so it's in. That was hard. All right, and then this goes on there. Oops, need the thread tape. Thread tape, thread tape, thread tape. Okay.
Is the bottom bit tight enough?
I'll do that in a minute. Okay, so that's going on that way. That just helps make a nice watertight seal. Now the reason I haven't tightened that back first is because I want to make sure that once this is on tight, I then can twist this around to where it's at the top, and then I'll tighten that off. Which is perfectly right there actually, and that has also tightened that, but I will get the big shifter and just tighten that up a bit. Oh. But that's it for today, so we just had to get that on because it's supposed to rain tonight and tomorrow, and obviously once that starts to fill up with water I can't go putting that in because the water's going to gush out. And we've actually got the gutter on now, and as soon as we get that next lot of rain,
she's going to start filling up.
Let's put the screen back in now. So it's just a screen to stop the debris falling in. And what I'll also put on in the next few days is a water diverter. It's not a water diverter system, but it dumps the first 40, 50, 60 litres of water when it washes off the roof. So what you do is you put it in here, the water flows into this tube, and then a ball will float up. Once the ball floats up, it'll lock off, and then the rest of the water will flow through. And then over a period of time, that pipe will just drain out. And it just means that, yeah, you don't end up with that first flush. Might even be called a first flush system, but you don't end up with that first flush of dirty water off the roof going into your tank. So I'll fit that over the next couple of days as well. What I'm doing right here is spraying what will be the hearth for the fireplace. So when you put a fireplace down, you need something for it to sit on so that that heat doesn't transfer through to the floor. So I've got this big piece of 19mm thick cement compressed fibro board, which is totally fireproof, and that's what we're going to use. So I've cut that into a really nice shape, which you can't quite tell from this closer distance. And I'm just spraying it with some black spray paint. It's a heat-proof spray paint, so that'll make it look pretty much the same color as the fireplace itself. So you'll get to see us put this in on the next episode. You'll also get to see us start connecting up all those water lines, and I've got a plumber coming in to do the gas for the hot water system as well. All of that will happen, and you'll see that happen on next week's episode, because for now, we're pretty much at the end of this episode. So again, I'd like to thank you for watching. I hope you've liked it, and feel free to leave me comments. I get a lot of really good questions, and I love answering the questions. But until next Friday, I want you to stay safe, take care, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.